What a great day. Let's fight some trainers. How are you doing, everyone? I just got myself something cold to drink. It's really hot outside. And something you would expect in the Hoenn region. If only we had some water outside. But I have something cold to drink, so I'm covered. I have been training some of my Pokemon here. Before entering the gym, I think Hoenn is pretty much more than enough to take on the gym challenge. I just didn't beat these guys first because, as you can imagine, and there is something you get after defeating all these people. So why not watch and see what we get by beating up the crap out of these people. And by the way, I just realized last time we talked about all the fire types we can obtain, all the water types we can obtain, hopefully I didn't forget anything, and all the grass types. At least I thought so. And I missed another post-game grass type you can get, which is made for it, Chikorita. And you probably won't use Chikorita. Look, Azrael, how cute. You won't use Chikorita. Meganium really won't bring you. You already have something much better than Meganium in the game. The only time you probably use Meganium is if you play competitively. It's mid tier, and if you want to use it in the Battlefront, yeah, only if you excuse me, if you enter the Battle Factory, where you have to rent Pokemon, and sometimes you get obscure choices. First we get soda pops. That was the reward. What a waste. What do you have to say for what you got? What does this kid say? Oh, there's a Pokeball I didn't pick up. So let's see. Zigzagoon. Shall we talk about normal types? Zigzagoon has pickup. So if you Zigzagoon you won't use it competitive or in the Battlefront here likely, unless you can pick up items with pickup is battle pyramid, otherwise you probably won't use it. In game it's a good HM slave cut. I think it can even learn surf and strength. And competitively you want it to have extreme speed, which you can only get if you have the Pokemon Ruby Sapphire box, which is pretty much very expensive. If we go by in-game, obviously you have pickups, so you can get some really useful items, which is why you probably want to use Zigzagoon. The next one is Slakoth, which we caught, which can become a Vigoroth. As a Vigoroth, it's an aggressive Pokemon that pretty much gets you anywhere. As an attacking you always lose one turn. That makes it really inefficient for your team. So I wouldn't recommend using Slakoth, not even competitively. Maybe in the Battle Frontier, I don't know. Hey, we got a soft set which boosts ground type move Pokemon's ground type attacks. Oh no, these kids were hiding. Apparently competitively it's high tier simply because it's high stats and some luck factor, but otherwise don't really recommend using Slacking. It can get used with the in-game, but it's not really worth it. Let's talk about Whismur. Whismur is mediocre, but I think once you fully evolved it, it has some really interesting moves up its sleeve you can take advantage of, like Fire Blast, Shadow Ball, and obviously powerful normal stab Earthquake. So Explode is not a bad Pokemon, it's also mid-tier competitively, and maybe he will get you far in the Battle Frontier, but not as far as using actually good Pokemon. Also it can learn Surf, so it's a nice HM slave for Surf, and obviously what is this guy doing? Obviously, and yeah, it has some really high power moves. It can even learn Ice Beam. So consider using Explode. So what does this guy going to do? Okay, he doesn't do anything. Are you giving me something? Okay. What about you? Let's talk about the worst normal type in this game. And we got a smooth bell, okay. Here it is. Skitty. So Skitty evolves with the Moonstone. No, I don't want to give you an interview. And Skitty turns into the worst normal type. You need Moonstone for it. It's the only Moonstone evolution that isn't from Gen 1. And that's all you need to know. Like, it's slow for a fully evolved Pokemon. It doesn't even hit hard, and it can't take any hit. The only advantage is that you can evolve it pretty much immediately, which I don't recommend. So just don't use Skitty unless you are playing for fun. Not even competitive, not even in the Battle Frontier, not even in game. It's worth your time. Next up is Taillow, which becomes Swellow. Good competitively, it's high tier, and obviously, as you see in game, so far it's doing really well. It's one of the best pure flying types, and definitely worth using. Well, we already solved the puzzle. So it gets Aerial Ace, it gets Wing Attack, you can't teach it for starting, and if it gets status, attack is doubled. Really, Swellow is really swell. A swell Birb. and the enemies can't do much against it. And also it's a nice flight Pokemon, so there's that. He used a super potion for some reason. Oh no, he used self-destruct. Can we survive it? Yes. Next up is Electrike. We activate our Oran Berry and then hit it with a double kick. Can we take it out? How did it survive? He goes for how. I think I will just do we have a paralysis heal? We should have one. Yeah, it's on the top. How did I just not notice it? Goes for the shockwave. How much does it do? Oh no, it got a critical hit. And we still have a revive, so it's not the end of the world. I don't think Swellow will get you far in the battlefront here, so don't get your hopes up. Next up is Dodu. Dodu hits hard like a truck. Once it evolves to Dog Trio. I don't think much you need to worry about. Drill Pack is insanely powerful. Why is he increasing his attack strength? He's an electric type, just attack me with an electric type. Oh boy. Next up is probably a Magneton, yes. He goes for Sonic Boom, 20 damage. Why isn't he using electric type moves? I don't get it. So what else? Dodrio is also great competitively. So definitely worth using. And I think it will get you far through the battle frontier with Double Edge, Drill Pack, Tri-Attack. So yeah, use Duck Trio. Do Trio. There's Spinda. Spinda is completely useless competitively and in game. You can try make it work, but it's a waste of time. It's like the unknown gimmick, but in this gen. Are there any normal types I forgot? Probably. Let me think. Zango. Yeah, Zango we can't sadly catch. Because it's Ruby exclusive. If we would, the game would sweep pretty much the entire team. It has amazing attack, can learn some powerful physical moves like Brick Break, Sword Stance. It's fine competitively, it's really good. As for in-game, a battle frontier, I think it will get you far, but don't expect too much again. So now let me think. Maybe we will find out some other normal types. Oh, these are normal types. Let me just hit these. Oh no, I went for the wrong target. If we go by post-game normal types, there's Miltank, which is great. What does Miltank do? It squashes pretty much everyone. It has Sigfat, which gives it resistance to ice and fire type moves in this game. Definitely a good Pokemon to consider using against such enemies like you will eventually see in the battlefront here. Let me just think if there was another normal type. I bet there is. I hear some children yelling. I could just look at the Pokédex, but I'm not going to do that. Are there any normal types? Yes, there is one, and it's Meowth. Meowth is god awful, don't use Meowth. Because Persian just doesn't have the stats to hit really hard. It's bottom tier pretty much. So are there any other normal types we need to worry about? Not that I can remember right now. So we will tug. Okay, that was random. And what's this? Okay, if we go there, we may defeat some strong trainers. But let's take care of what awaits us here. This is a guide. This is a powerful family we didn't beat last time because we were in a rush. So I will I will catch Motor. There's so much yelling outside that I can't focus on my commentary. So we defeated Victor, who is holding a kid with a Pikachu out cosplay. So let's beat her up. Maybe she's using something worthwhile. Resilia. Maybe we should talk about some types we already have kinda covered. What flying types are in this game? We talked about Pelipper, we talked about Swellow, we talked about Dodrio. Let's talk about Zubat. Yeah, Zubat can learn Wing Attack pretty early. Crobat is amazing. It's easy to get in this game. As you see, we just got Smooth Bell, which raises friendship. And we can teach it Shadow Ball by buying it. Yeah, it can learn early Wing Attack, I said it. Fly. Steel Wing to get past annoying rock types. So, yeah, Crobat is the boss in this game. And Sludge Bomb hits like a truck if you can get the TM for it. So Crobat definitely contender or flying type Pokemon you can use in-game and competitively, and even against the battlefront here I would say you can feel comfortable using Crobat. Ladian, Ladybar, Ladian is awful. It's you get it at post game, but it's bottom tier trash competitively, and it's awful against the battlefront here. Similarly with Ninjask, but Ninjask is good in the battlefront competitively. In the battlefront here it can be useful, but don't get your hopes up. Are they giving you anything for beating everyone up? Another bug flying type is Masquerain, which is you can't catch a Masquerain in this game, but if you could, it would be a waste of time, because Masquerain sucks ass competitively and even in game. What else do we have? Hoot is post game exclusive, and Hoot is bottom tier trash. Let's see if any of these trainers want to battle. You can see that once there's some kind of square poke or yeah, all Pokemon are healed. Yeah, Hoot won't get you far. It's not worth grinding for a train unless you really want to use it. Skarmory hits really hard. It's excellent competitively, but it won't get you far in the battlefront here because it's a defensive Pokemon. But you get it really early, and once you get it, it's doing its job pretty well. You are being watched, and he's under the table. Let's do this while we are at it. I never really tried these challenges of the Big Master, so let's do it. And what's the goal? It's to get that scroll, I think. We also talked about Gyarados. I sometimes forgot that Gyarados is a flying type. What other flying types exist in this game? I'm just thinking. It's a Safari Zone. There aren't many. Oh yeah, this Flygon becomes Salamence. Salamence is one of the best Pokemon of Generation 3, but he's close to post game area. You need All Age Ends, and you can only use Waterfall once you have beaten the last gen. So, not sure if you want to grind for it. So, what is there to? What else is there? So, Salamence is good competitively and also against the battlefront here. You can breed one with Dragon Dance, which is actually really good. Earthquake, it has great attack stats and speed and defense. It's like the perfect Pokemon in this generation. You can teach it Dragon Claw, you can teach it Earthquake, you can teach it Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Fly, Aerial Ace, Hydro Pump, Crunch. Like, there's no end to its moveset. It can be a special attack and a physical attack. And a mixed attack technically too, but Generation 3 isn't really relevant as a good mixed attack. Any other flying types? Yes, there's as Rayquaza itself, the best Pokemon in Emerald for in-game, because you can actually use it. Unlike in other games. It's just a post-game reward if you can catch it. But once you have Rayquaza, with Rayquaza you can pretty much beat this game with ease, as an Elite Four at least, and some side challenges, but not, you can't use it as a Battle Frontier. Competitively, Rayquaza, this is the worst gen for Rayquaza, but at its worst is still a really good Pokemon. Even without stack moves, you can do a lot with it. You can go mixed, you can go physical, you can go special. What other flying types are there? I think we even covered almost all the dragon types. We talked about Kingdra too. So let's try talking about Flygon. Flygon is mediocre in game. Like, it takes a lot of effort to get it, but competitively it's great. It has some really good immunities to electricity and ground, so definitely consider using definitely consider using it. For the Battle Frontier, even competitive, it's really useful. You can use it with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Flamethrower, Giga Drain, Fire Blast, Crunch, and Dragon Claw. Physical moves aren't a lot. Steel Wing, I thought that I think Hyper Beam just for the lols. You are being watched. Here he is. So I don't. Oh, there are Latios and Latios. Latios and Latios sadly are post-game exclusive Pokemon. So what happens is you will just use them for the Battle Frontier once you catch them. Both are about equally good. I think Latios is a bit better. Competitively, they are banned from OU, and if you don't have Soul Dew, they are pretty much useless in Uber, so you need to kinda cheat to get them. But they are pretty much necessary if you want to beat the Battle Frontier, at least the Battle Tower. It's necessary to get through several challenges. My team was so I caught a bad Latias back when I didn't know how natures worked. So I was pretty much forced to replay Ruby and Sapphire where Latias and Latios are glitched, and so you get them with awful awful stats always. But I still caught them because even with awful stats they are clutch to get through the battlefront here. That's how good they are. And Bolt Beam coverage is pretty much all you need with Calm Mind and Recover. But what you can do is... Okay, never tried doing that, but let's see how this works. Max. His name is Ted. Okay. Regardless, where was I? So yes, Latias and Latios definitely worth using. You can teach them Dragon Claw if you want. You don't necessarily need to use the moves I mentioned. Can go that way too. Are there any other dragon types? I think with this I covered all the dragon types you can get in this game. Let's go to ground types. Groudon is amazing. You can use it for post game, I guess, like Kyogre, to eliminate all the elite, all the additional trainers. But you probably will use it, if anything, against competitive as a sun setup for your team. By the way, I forgot to talk about Beautifly. Beautifly sucks ass, but it's a nice flash user, but it won't get you through the game unless you really grind it hard. It's offline competitive and it is completely useless in the battlefront here. Now I'm thinking again, what is missing? What am I missing? So we talked about Groudon, and yeah, we are talking about ground type Pokemon. We talked about Swampert, we talked about Camerupt, we talked about Quagsire from post game. Are there any other post game Pokemon? No, there is Sandslash you can use, which still doesn't learn any ground type moves on its own when it evolves. Competitively it's mid tier and it won't get you far in the battlefront here. And then I just realized we forgot Cacnea, I think, for grass types, but Cacnea really is immune against sand. I see. Oh yeah, we need to defeat and get some more gym badges before we can move on. This is the thing problematic. A Domfan really needs a lot until it evolves, but competitively it's really good. In terms of for the battlefront here, you probably don't want to use Domfan. It's not awful, but it won't get you far. We already talked about Flygon. What else? Oh, I forgot a very important water type, water to ground type, which is Wishcash. Wishcash has pretty awful stats. It has a good defense stat, but this water ground type can learn has good courage in Earthquake, Surf and Ice Beam, but I wouldn't recommend using it as a battlefront or competitive, but it will get you through the game. Not sure if it can learn Dive and as good as an HM slave, but I think it does really well. So what other ground types do we have? There are no flying grounds. Ah yeah. And Skogler is post-game exclusive, and in this generation it's not as good, but it can learn Earthquake PTM, so it's not god awful. And competitively it's mid tier, but probably won't use it in game in the battle frontier against such Pokemon it is. Flying types, we still have obviously event exclusive in Ho-Oh and Lugia. We talked about Ho-Oh. Lugia on the other hand is a really good defensive wall for competitive, and it's probably the only reason you would use it for. And maybe to beat say some trainer rematches, it will I think it will do fine. It has aerial, it has good mixed stats, so that's that. Ground types, what are the ground types out there? Ground, flying. Yeah, but I will think about them. Maybe we will find something else as we battle on. Oh yeah, normal types, there's still Girafarig, and Girafarig is mediocre mid-tier Pokemon. It comes really late game, so I don't know if you want to use it in your team. It can learn Thunderbolt, Psychic, it can learn Crunch, I think, but I'm not certain. And maybe Shadow Ball. It has good enough mixed stats to get you through the team, and it's not really a slow Pokemon. And let me just switch these so we can defeat them. Oh yeah, a Graveler line. When it comes to ground types, a Golem is good in competitive and high tier, useful Pokemon because it can learn Explosion. Competitively it can get you far too, despite its low speed. I think against Zapdos and Moltres from Brandon it can be useful. So by that I mean battle pyramid, consider using it. In-game sword, hard-hitting ground rock stab, even without evolution, should get you pretty far. So Geodude, as you see, it's not an awful Pokemon, definitely worth using. There's also Rayquaza, which can turn Rhydon, another good Pokemon, both competitively as well as for the battle frontier, but I'm not sure if you want to use it in game because it comes really late, and don't know if you want to grind it to level 41. Also, you can't teach it Mega Hoenn in this game, which is probably what you would prefer to do. His name is Trent, and he wants a rematch, so you now have Trent's Pokédex entry. And do we have strength? We don't, I think. How did we get... oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah, here you can catch normal, but I'm not sure if you want to have a normal. No, let's kick it away. We are about to reach some interesting place. Wish we could have gotten these trainers simultaneously. So there's this shroomish, which we can turn into roasted mushrooms. What else does she have? Our Zilia. We saw plenty of these. It's a real tease seeing all these Roselia, but you can't catch them. Finally, he realized I'm here. So it's a fire guy. If a number. So let me think if we are missing still some ground types. Should we switch to poison types? We talked about Crobat, we talked about Tentacool, we talked about... who did we talk about? Oh. Talked about Crobat, I mentioned that, and we talked about Oddish line. Says Swellow, and Swellow is annoying as sin. So what does Swellow do? It's bottom tier shit. It's a discount mug, which says a lot, because Mach isn't really that great. You rely on teaching a Sludge Bomb, and your breeding Pain Split is... you can't breed Pain Split in this game, I recall. What else was there? Pain Split. It can learn Anchor, which may be interesting competitively. Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt. It can get you through the game, but it doesn't offer much. Poor poison type doesn't really do much, and having such restricted movesets is not really appealing. It just doesn't hit hard enough to consider it a moveset well spent. I think I used it once and actually did make it far, but just remember it has just 60 base power, so don't get your hopes up. And now I remember a ground type move Pokemon in, what was he called? A Claydol, who is also really awful. Competitively it's okay rapid spinner that is immune to ground and electric, but it just doesn't hit hard, so you probably won't use it in-game, or you may consider using it in-game because it can learn Ice Beam, Earthquake, Shadow Ball, Psychic, but not against at a Battle Frontier, and maybe you use it competitively, but it's a double, not really worth it in my opinion. So, we were talking poison types, weren't we? Rosalia we can't catch, so, but we already covered it. That leaves us with Swiper, which we will later maybe encounter. Swiper is pure poison again, really slow, really frail, but it has immense attack stat. So what happens if you, what does Swiper offer besides 100 base attack stats? The answer is a Flamethrower and Giga Drain and Earthquake and Crunch, and most of these are TM moves, but they are fun, powerful coverage moves, at least most of them. So you may be inclined to use Swiper because of that. And by the way, here you can EV train for special attack. Just don't kill any Skarmories if you do that, because Skarmory is going to give you 1 point in physical defense. What's with the encounter rate? If you train EV train, the encounter rate isn't even that high, and I'm usually using an Illuminate Pokemon and White Flute to increase the encounter rate. There's a Trapinch which becomes a Flygon. Oh yeah, we wasted these moves. Let me think a little. His name is Jason. There's an Acer. I see a trainer hiding there, and I'm willing to battle both of them. Oh, it's not. I didn't notice the guy below me. So there he is. Baltoy is a Pokemon I was referring to. Coughing you can catch in this game. Yeah, Coughing is another weird choice, if I say so myself. Sludge Bomb, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Fire Blast. Competitively, Coughing, everything is really good in this generation because it has only one weakness, and that is Psychic. So it can take some hits. And lastly, what was it called? And lastly, there is this thing, well, you can explode, but there's also Will-O-Wisp, which allows you to burn a Pokemon and does half its attack stat. So it's a good physical check. Definitely consider using Coughing, Wheezing competitively, but not in the Battle Frontier where the enemies hit really hard. And we talked about Krillfish already. What? Oh no, we can't pick up the item. Is there any other poison type? Not that I know of. So we shall continue. I'm surprised we don't hit this hard. But Hoenn finally trying to learn Quick Attack, and I think I will go and get rid of Peck, even if that super effective damage will come in clutch. Fire and Flying kinda are redundant, so I think I can get rid of that. So it goes for Metal Claw here. Finish it off with Steel Wing. Like this, we defeated this clown. We get a Super Repel. And unlock it. There's Lagma, an awful Pokemon. Let's escape. Because I don't want that. I think I will beat these trainers off screen. You don't really need to see that all these battles. They probably aren't even engaging. I will grind on some later. Let's escape here. Now this will be, yeah, we managed to get out. So we can end the recording here. I hope you enjoyed so far, and next time we will take care and continue our adventure, and well, we will see each other next time. Goodbye.